Welcome to another season of the Spock and Dron Fantasy Football Podcast.
And for those of you who didn't know, that song was Light of the Seven from Game of Thrones, Season 6.
And man, was that an episode.
Finale of Season 6. First 15 minutes played throughout. For those of you who are not caught up, I recommend muting for the next 30 seconds or so.
Yeah, spoiler alert time. I mean, that was an episode for the ages, I'd argue. My favorite character died in what was an unjust way, in my opinion. I don't think she was seen off correctly. Marjorie, that is the most beautiful woman to ever bless our presence in the Game of Thrones environment. But great episode nonetheless.
Yeah, so that episode is all about starting anew with Tommen falling off and the whole Tyrells getting murdered. And this podcast is about starting anew Season 2.
Season 2 of the podcast, Season 6 of the Jedi Council. We have our very first year of the same 12 members. No new faces. Quite a few veterans, still quite a few noobs, but they are all at least entering year 2, some entering year 6, 5, 4, what have you.
Which is great because we praise consistency here at the Jedi Council.
We sure do. And something we're finding is happening a lot more season in and season out. You know, our brand new champion, for example, Jay Derulo Glover. Congratulations on the new wife. The wedding was great. It was fun. I hope you're enjoying your honeymoon. Consistency, though, is an example there. He was a bottom feeder for 4 straight seasons, I guess, before he came on top of the trophy.
Yeah. Big shout out to Jay for that, for getting married. And we'll talk more about Jay and some predictions that we have for him later. But right now, we are going to transition into news and notes
from around the league. We have quite a few preseason injuries, some less fortunate than others. My biggest concern and disappointment was Deion Lewis. He was a guy who played a solid 4 or 5 weeks for me before he went down with an injury last year, and I thought he was going to do big things with the Patriots again this year. It's a bummer to see he won't be back till week 8, was it?
Midway through the season, I think docs are saying 6 to 10 weeks. I don't know if he's even draftable at this point.
You know, it's tough, especially with James White, who has been solid for them as well in a backup position. It's always tough to really read the Patriots, their backs, because you fumble and you're out. You know, Bill Belichick doesn't like mistakes, and he's gonna bench you.
He's a madman. He's a genius, but he's a madman.
Debatably the best coach ever, though.
Moving on, we got Ben Watson out for the year.
The tight end that blew up for New Orleans last year went to Baltimore, was going to try to do big things again, but unfortunately he suffered an Achilles heel rupture. And it seems like he won't be back this season.
It's not something we like to see. Appears that Tony Romo has broken another part of his back.
What a surprise. What a surprise.
God clearly does not want him to play football.
No, and I'm not too bummed about it because it's not a guy I would want on my team. I don't care how well he performs when he's not injured. He's just
nervous wreck. Thinking about drafting him, it is a concern.
Definitely a concern. You know, I think especially with Jason Witten as well, he's always a solid performer as a tight end, you know, mid-level. Puts the numbers you need. I'd say Terrence Williams becomes undraftable at this point.
Yeah, I would say so. If Dak Prescott throwing him the ball, you can't expect too much.
Although he has been looking well this preseason. You know, the only one I don't think is affected, I think Zeke Elliott will still have a strong season.
Yeah, I think they could lean on him more.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting. We'll see who takes the rookie running back in the first round. My bet is Rhett, and my bet is that he ends up doing awful. Anyways, moving on from that, one other injury, Eric Ebron, sprained ankle. We're not really sure what. Hasn't been playing in the preseason. Do we expect to see him week 1?
We will see. On the bright side for Ebron, though, he does have that Campbell's soup commercial. I don't know if you guys have seen that. If not, YouTube it. Regular guy fantasy league, Campbell's soup should bring up the video.
Absolutely, it's a good commercial. It's good to see that he's doing some things out off the field, doing some things for his name. So that's exciting. Other player news: Tyrod Taylor, long-term contract. Do you think that is the right move for the Bulls? Do you think he can be a franchise quarterback for them?
Franchise QBs are so hard to find. I think you have to take a gamble. We've seen he's proven himself. The question is, can he stay healthy?
That is a key point. He is known to scramble. He gets hit quite a bit, but he is a tough guy. So, best to him. We'll see if Brandon Friedel decides to draft him again and have another wishy-washy year with a number one quarterback.
And we're going to wrap up this section with talking about Cap and his disrespectfulness towards our country.
It's a shame. There may be a lot of racism still present here in America, whether it's, wage wars with those of a different race than Caucasian getting less money or what have you. But, without America and without that flag and without that national anthem, Colin wouldn't be where he is right now. He'd have no opportunity to be making millions. So I think it's a shame he's not willing to stand up and represent his country.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah. So moving on, we're going to jump into expectations and predictions for the league. We can start off with bottom feeders and those who we think will compete for a trophy this year. Spock, if you want to start us off with a couple guys you think may be competing for that last place spot.
Well, I'm going to start off with saying Rhett. And just the way that he drafts so haphazardly, you can't expect to. I think he did get lucky last season. Let me come off by saying that. And I'm going to say, when you draft a quarterback in the second round.
And then Jimmy Graham in the third.
Jimmy Graham in the third. Those are your money picks, and you cannot be wasting those. So I think, Rhett, just based off your draft performance from last year, I'm going to expect you in the bottom 6 missing the playoffs.
I could not agree more with that. You can definitely – we've got a guest speaker coming on later who's going to talk a little draft strategy with us. So, Rhett, you should definitely tune in for that. I think it'll do you wonders to listen in. It's a very smart analyst, but we'll get to him later. The other one who surprisingly last year was a bottom feeder was Aditya. And – I don't see him coming out of that bottom 6. I see maybe a bottom 3 actually out of him with the pressures of medical school now down to the Caribbean, taking his time away from him. A long distance relationship with his girlfriend, just totally being tuned out of basically the fantasy world while he's in the Caribbean without the support of people like Roston and Friedel and Jostin out at state. It's going to be tough for him to really be involved. So I expect his performance to be down.
Yeah.
Once again.
I expect him to be at the top of the waiver wire order. Actually, no, we're doing WAB this year, so it doesn't even matter. But I expect him to not be bidding consistently. And if he is bidding, it won't be competitively, so he won't be able to get his guy.
Right. I could not agree more. Those competing for a championship. Couple names you got in mind outside of yourself and me. We will disclude that.
Well, I think one who competed for a championship last year that won't be competing again this year, but may be able to make a run in the playoffs, the usual letdown. Just because he has come out and made it public that he will be drafting AP or AD all day first overall. I don't know how I feel about that with the big 3 wide receivers being so consistently ranked as total studs, can't bust. And AP has his question marks.
Yeah, absolutely. I can see where he's coming from. AP outside of 1 or 2 injuries in his career hasn't let down. When he's on the field, he's performing. So I see why you're willing to give him another chance as he goes into, I think, age 32. Really when running backs start to fall off in terms of eliteness. I think the only thing that may be getting in his way is his allegiance to the Vikings. I think that is clouding his decision making, but at the same time, I guess I can't fault you. AP's a good pick. He's performed well. So best of luck to you. And yeah, the other one who I expect to see up there, he's consistently been there. He may be a dictator. He may be our commissioner. He kind of lays down the law. And by law, I mean what he wants, his rules, his law. But he's always in that top 3-4 performers. I expect him to be in the playoffs, be competitive. The one and only Ryan Austin.
He's a smart fantasy football player.
He is.
And he's not one that I'm per se scared to play in the playoffs, but he's not one that I'd be, celebrating
like a rat.
Yeah, you could say that.
No, yep, I agree. I think the the only deterrence from that would be that he is getting married in 5 or 6 months, so his mind may be elsewhere. I can almost guarantee his mind will be elsewhere. So that's something to keep your eye on. Take advantage of him if you can. But yeah, those are just a couple of predictions for who we think will do well and who we don't think will do well. Moving on from that, you want to jump into our draft that's coming up in a week and a day, Labor Day, 8:30 p.m.
Yeah, so we're just going to start off with some discussion. Well, John, I just want to know, is it really safer to draft a wide receiver with your first round pick?
It's a great question. It's what all the experts are asking right now. When I how I went to that conference over the summer with the fantasy football experts. Adam Rank was there. He was kind of leading it. But just the podcast across the board, we had to have someone represented there, and that was one of the main conversation points when we were there. And the stats say it themselves. Out of the top 10 drafted running backs last year, only 2 of them ended up actually being top 10 running backs. AP being one, and I believe Matt Forte, actually, surprisingly enough. So, and on the other side of things, the wide receivers perform. You get your top tiers, and barring injury, barring injury in all these conversations, they are the most consistent players on the team. So the Julios, the Antonios, the Odells of this league.
I was actually crunching the numbers last night before I went to bed. And what I came to was that 80% of the wide receivers drafted in the top 10 will finish in the top 15. So take it how you want it. I like consistency when I'm drafting. But I'm just going to play devil's advocate here. I would argue that there are more wide receivers that are startable that you may draft than running backs. So I'm going to bring the argument over to positional scarcity. John, do you want to weigh in?
Yeah, it's still tough because it's no longer a league of bruiser backs. So many teams are going to a committee type of strategy. Whether it's your bruiser, if you will, running the first and second downs, but then you have your third down backs.
Which is why I would argue that those 3-down bell cow backs are very rare, worth a first round pick possibly.
Yeah.
Your David Johnsons, your Gurley's, your APs, Zeke possibly, Lamar Miller,
Absolutely.
JJ.
No, I don't know that one, but no, I completely get that. But again, last time we can go on the other side of things. There are many more running backs, in my opinion, out there that have potential to perform at a top tier, almost elite level than there are absolute elite wide receivers. And I think that's the risk you're willing to take when you decide to take running backs at the top versus receivers.
You're blindly throwing darts.
Yep, there's just less of a guarantee. So, with that being said, draft isn't a week, guys. If you haven't been studying, you're behind the ball. You're a disappointment to all of us thus far.
You need to rethink your life.
We do not. I repeat, we do not want a repeat of a Ryan Friedel or Rhett Jackson draft from last year. It's appalling to this league.
It's embarrassing to say the least.
And it's just unacceptable at this point in our. We're $80 a year now. The winnings they're high. It's going to be competitive, and we can't have you, lackluster in the very first day of our league. So study up.
Do your homework.
Yeah. Moving on. Do we want to jump into some positional sleepers?
Yeah, I'll start out.
All right.
I think Matt Jones has a shot to be a legitimate RB2, borderline RB1. The pros, he has cool hair, runs the ball with tenacity. Bye-bye Alfred Morris to the Dallas Cowboys. Who's competing with him? I don't even know who their backup is. Maybe that guy who catches passes.
Yeah, I don't remember the names. I know they drafted a rookie, and he's been performing decent in preseason. Last I read about it, I can't remember the name off the top of my head. But, for where you're getting him, average draft position, ADP, for those of you who don't know the acronym, he could definitely be a value pick. I see it. I don't know if his season is going to be as expected, but the opportunity is there. Absolutely. I guess we can go back and forth with this. One of my running backs, he's a higher end one, not necessarily a sleeper, but I think a value pick is Lamar Miller. He's had a lot of upside going into pretty much every single season, and he's always been letting people down. That Dolphins offense just didn't really play into his skill set. And I believe Houston, right, is where he is now. I think they are prime and poised for another Arian Foster type running back to put in a big season. And he's going late first round, early second. I think it's a good pickup for the bottom of the draft, I guess, for those drafting 10 through 12.
Last season, I believe he averaged 4.2 yards per carry. YPC, if you don't know that acronym, learn it. Anyway, 4.2, you can't argue with that.
No.
Feed him the ball every time, you'll win the game.
You'll win the game, amen, and you'll win your fantasy game as well. My other running back is actually Latavius Murray's backup, Washington. I'm blanking on the first name, but there's been great notes about him out of camp, and they're talking about him being a third down back and really maybe breaking into Murray's carries getting into the season, almost maybe going to a committee just based on what's happening. Again, that's all if Murray isn't performing as we expect. I think both could actually be value picks. It just depends on where they play out. But if Washington does start eating into those carries, I think we can expect big things.
Yeah, I could see a situation similar to what developed in Washington last year, where everybody was high on Alfred Morris. Mr. Consistency is what they said. That's what the experts are calling him. I never bought into it. That's why I did not draft him. But we can see a guy who had a good season before, gets carries taken away by one of the younger guys who has something to prove.
Absolutely. Do you have a second running back?
No, I actually don't have a second running back. I have one, but I do not want to share because I plan on
I can understand that. How about a QB?
I mean, QBs, you have. I think the obvious sleeper QB is our very own Matthew Stafford, because you got Cooter running the offense.
Jimbo Cooter.
Cooter. And we saw what he could do when he had control of the offense for that second half of the season. Stafford was one of the top fantasy quarterbacks.
Top 4, right there. Number 4 in the last half of the season.
Our receiving core this year is not something to mess around with.
No, I mean, with a veteran of Anquan Golden kind of leading these younger guys, and then Golden Tate, Marvin Jones, and hopefully Ebron, I mean, it's a force to be reckoned with.
Theo Riddick catching balls out of the backfield.
Hopefully Amir can catch a few too, and I think there's a lot of weapons, and I think Stafford is going to utilize them in a good fashion, definitely. My quarterback actually is Marcus Mariota from Tennessee. He had a lot of good games last year. There was some definite inconsistent play, but I think coming into year 2, and same goes with Jameis Winston. Both are extremely athletic, extremely talented, can launch the ball. Both have decent weapons. One with Mike Evans and one actually Delaney Walker, I think, is going to be huge for Marcus Mariota. I think he could, be a low-end QB1 by the end of the year.
See, my only concerns with Marcus Mariota is his offensive line. And can he take the abuse? Can he maybe use his mobility to escape that abuse? I hope they can fix it for his sake, because I think he's a great person. I want him to have a long career in the NFL. And you're not going to do that when you're getting sacked, pressured as much as he did last year.
Absolutely. I mean, it's similar to Tyrod Taylor, like we were talking earlier. Is he going to have an O-line that can protect him? And if not, is he going to be able to battle through the scars? So we'll go through just one wide receiver here, and mine is Stephon Diggs. He's still being drafted like 14th, and he had big games last year. And I think they drafted a rookie, the Vikings, that I can't remember his name, to shoot Jay a text. I'll know it for sure. But I think Stephon Diggs is a great value pick in the 14th round, and I think he's going to do big things this year.
He's
I think
one of the best route runners
absolutely
in the league. Maybe second to AB, but
I expect to see at least a 1,300-yard season this year, maybe 11 or so touchdowns. I think it'll be a top 15, top 20 receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Receiver for you?
The receiver for me is. I don't have a receiver out of the top of my head. I think Marvin Jones from the Lions. I'm going to go again. I think we're going to be a pass of the offense this year. He's our guy that's going to be streaking down deep. I think if he's there maybe in the 10th round, 11th round, 12th round, he could be a guy that could outperform his ADP.
Yeah, I could not agree more. I wouldn't even be surprised if he outperforms Golden Tate this year.
Because Tate's going to be drawing the number one guy.
Yep. And
we don't have Megatron.
I completely agree. I think Golden's going to be similar to the Randall Cobb effect last year, where you're asking a slot receiver to jump into that number one role.
Exactly.
And they can't necessarily perform like a Julian Edelman or an Antonio Brown.
We never really got to see what Marvin Jones was capable of in Cincinnati because there was so many mouths to feed, and Tyler Eifert and Aj Green and
Mohamed Sanu. Yeah, and even with the minimal targets he had, he was still a touchdown machine. For how many targets and how many touchdowns, it was one of the higher in the league. So yes, definitely excited for the Lions this year and what Marvin Jones Stafford has to do. With all that being said, should we jump into our guest speaker?
First guest of the year. Everybody do a big round of applause for Jensen Squid Smith. Come over here and have a seat.
All right, enough of that. Jensen's notorious for thinking he's much more ghetto than he actually is, so that was the theme song he wanted.
Well, some would say I am.
Well,
I would say he is.
I wouldn't. So there's that. So, gents, welcome to your very first, really kind of the introduction to the Spock and Dron podcast.
Yeah, I'm really honored to be here. Thanks for it.
We're happy to have you, man.
Absolutely. You know, gents has been past couple of years been begging to be in this league, and there really haven't been openings, and he has been well known enough throughout the Jedi Council community. But you know, if we have people falling out or underperformers, I think
he's got my vote.
He's got mine.
So, gents, I don't know if you want to start out by introducing yourself, and we're gonna ask you some fantasy football questions as well as some other questions that don't have anything to do with fantasy football. But for this first set of questions, in addition to introducing yourself, tell our listeners why they should listen to you.
Well, I couldn't say my record would speak for itself because my record in fantasy football has never been that good, but it's been a lot to do with luck and
Andrew Luck.
Never drafted him. Maybe I should have, but a lot of injuries. But I always study, and John can attest. I am almost always looking at stuff on ESPN to figure out who's going to be the best. I just had a draft a week ago, actually, and my draft grade was A. So, I mean,
wow,
I drafted pretty well. So I think that can really just speak for itself.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. You know, those draft grades a lot of the time resonate with how well you end up performing in the by the end of the actual season. So it's definitely exciting stuff. Do you any sleepers you have in mind coming into the season? Rookies, kind of guys going under the.
You have the floor, so whatever you want to say about fantasy football, whether it be sleepers, draft advice, tips.
You know, I think. Part of you guys talked about earlier the running back and wide receiver, but I'm a firm believer that quarterbacks. It's really important to have a good quarterback, and you know,
we disagree with that. I think the league knows very well that John.
But listen, continue. You need to have a guy who's going to score 15 to 20 points a game. Everyone needs it, and despite his past performances, I think Eli Manning is really going to come through this year. A lot of good receivers, good offensive line, good running backs. I think that he's going to be a good fantasy quarterback this year. So I think if you can pick him up, he is going in the late rounds. So I think that's a good guy to go with. LaShawn McCoy, I think, is going to be a good guy. I don't really have anything else for you.
I love both. I mean, you know,
Carlos got cut. He was the one stealing carries from him.
Yeah, there's pretty much no one behind him. I mean, so again,
And a good receiving core to back up. I mean, they're going to have to rely on him, but not too much.
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, Eli Manning is, again, another late round draft pick right now going ADP, and he has, every single season he's a top 12 quarterback.
Yep.
He lands there. The issue is consistency game.
Yep,
to game.
a lot of reception or interceptions.
So it's whether can figure out the 5 touchdown games and kind of reciprocate those efforts throughout every single game rather than throwing up duds with 0 touchdown games. So I like it.
And for me, the reason I've shied away from Eli in the past is I feel like your starting quarterback is representative of your team. And if Eli is a goofy guy, I don't know if I want him as my starting quarterback.
But
I'd
he's
rather
a
have
man.
an Andy Dalton, a Tyrod Taylor, a Joe Flacco.
Interesting. We'll see how that plays out. I thought about Tyrod, but I don't know, man. I don't know. Pretty inconsistent, I think.
Yeah, definitely. The other thing I think our audience is hoping to hear from you is just kind of maybe value picks, or if you have predictions for a player in each position that is going to be the best this year.
Wow.
So we can start off with the QB.
I mean, obviously, like I said, I think Eli Manning, I made sure to get him early enough, but not too early. I think I drafted him in the 7th round. And I did. There were obviously some better quarterbacks who were supposedly going to be better than him, but I have a lot of faith in him.
So you believe Eli will be the number 1 fantasy quarterback this year?
Maybe not number 1, but I think top 5. I think he's gonna have a real good year.
So your number 1 quarterback, who would that be?
Cam Newton.
Cam Newton. Repeat of
Run
last
it,
year.
throw it. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. And you know what? Even though Tom Brady, he's gonna be out for what? You stopped.
I think Cam Newton is going to regress, and I'm
the dog.
I'm a dog, so take advice from me.
And then running backs. I know that Jay, he's a diehard Vikings fan. Is probably going to take AP. Well, is probably going to take AP. But I think David Johnson really is going to have a great year. I picked him first in the first round, and I'm really going to rely on him to carry my team this year.
Yeah, I love that pick. What about a wide receiver?
Oh, it's tough. I think Odell, Antonio Brown, Julio Jones. I think there's a lot of guys who can really carry the torch for the team. I think those 2 or 3 guys can really.
So who would you take?
If I had my pick, I would take Antonio Brown.
And let's hear why.
He is the number 1 receiver on that team. Odell, probably the best talent-wise receiver, but he's got Victor Cruz. He's got Sterling Shepard, who's a rookie out of Oklahoma.
Best rookie, in my opinion.
Also going to be an incredible receiver. So Odell's not going to get as many looks as Antonio's going to get downfield.
I would agree with that.
Points-wise.
Yeah, I feel like you can't go wrong either way. But AD is probably the clear number 1.
Yeah.
So, and we'll jump into tight end, and we're going to say minus Gronkowski. You're not allowed to pick him.
I think Kelsey, that's his name?
Travis
Kelce from Kansas City is going to be good. I really want to say that Ebron's going to be good, but he can't catch the football. So, he's working on catching the football. I don't want to offend you too much, John, but I think he'd be good, but I don't know. Who else? That's all I got right now.
It's all right. We only wanted 1.
Oh, perfect.
So we're just going to jump into a few questions. Spock, you want to start this one off?
Yeah, I got a couple would you rather questions.
Ooh.
So you want my one that pertains to fantasy football or my one that pertains to real life?
Let's do
what do you want first?
Let's start off the fantasy football.
All right. Would you rather you look exactly like you do, but you would have to have OBJ's hair? That's your first choice, or you could have Von Miller's big ugly glasses that he always wears.
OBJ's hair for sure, hands down.
Why would you want that?
Because the song, my intro song said for the song.
Okay.
I
love it.
I'm pretty gangster, so I think that really.
You
I think that
get
speaks for
respect
itself.
on the streets.
My street cred would go up. I could say that.
Alrighty. Well, my first question is it's another would you rather. It's gonna be a tough choice, but would you rather shit your pants in a live NFL game Or get a couple photos passed around publicly in front of millions of you kissing a girl.
Dang, that's a really tough
ugly
one.
girl.
Well,
I think the photos probably I'd have to say. I think that would be I think everyone has that. Everyone goes through that time when they do something they really kind of regret, but I'd
get a bit inebriated and things happen, I suppose,
yeah.
Absolutely. We'll jump into my second question right away.
Okay.
Why, in your opinion, is Jay not going to be able to pull off the back-to-back championships this year?
Oh man, not to blame it on Lisa, because I think I think Lisa is a beautiful woman. I think she's great for Jay.
Made a gorgeous bride. By
Yeah,
the way. If you're watching this, Lisa,
look beautiful.
Mm.
Marriage is tough. He's going to be busy with doing. Yeah.
Becoming a stallion in bed. An absolute stallion.
Yeah. So I think that really that's going to hold him back. The time commitment's not going to be there like it's been in years past. And nothing against the marriage. I just think that his priorities, I think, are in maybe a little bit of different place than they were last year.
Absolutely. So. Spock?
All right, well, my last question for you is another would you rather question.
Would you rather?
All right, would you rather be the smartest person in the world or the stupidest person in the world, but you maintain your current intelligence? So let that sink in.
Wow.
Let's hear what you have to say.
I think. Can you give me maybe a situational?
No situational.
No. Same question, but smartest person. Okay.
So I think you either be the smart.
Yeah. I'd rather be the stupidest person in the world.
Okay. So you'd be the bottom feeder.
Well,
but society would go on.
Well. I mean,
You'd be the equivalent of a Rhett Jackson.
I think Rhett's a great guy.
Yeah, well, some say great, some say lame.
Well,
we'll have to wait till he comes on the show so we can.
To each his own, I suppose.
To each his own. Alrighty, last question for Jensen. A piece of advice for the league. What is the number one thing in your mind that it takes to win a fantasy football championship?
This is really it's either a go big or go home type of situation, but playing the waiver wire really will either help you or just kill you. And so if you can play the waiver well, I think you'll have a pretty successful season. If you don't, then you're kind of shit out of luck, as some would say. So.
SOL.
Most definitely. Alrighty, well, thank you, Squid, for joining us today in our season opening podcast. It's been a pleasure. We hope to have you back quite soon.
For sure. I think I'll be around.
Yeah, absolutely. We hope you are, and you're already more reliable than quite a few that we tried to get on the show last year.
Wow.
Papa, for example, was next to impossible to get in touch with.
Always.
Although he had a great mask. He had a great mask.
He did. And we look forward to having you on again.
For sure.
You offer some great insight.
Thank you, Spock.
I'm sure our listeners will be very entertained hearing what you have to say.
Most absolutely. Alrighty, well, thank you, Squid. It's always a pleasure getting an unintelligent guest on here that we can laugh at in the background. Spock and I enjoy it a lot. I can tell you that much.
Which is most people, because we are probably in the top 10 percentage for being smart in the world.
Right, especially when it comes to being a fantasy football analyst. With all that said, I think we're going to move into our closing notes. Spock, you have anything to say as we go into the season before we jump into our poll?
As always, hit us up with your suggestions. What did he love from the show? What did he hate? We'd love to hear it.
What more do you want to hear? Is there any type of guest speaker you want on, maybe outside of someone in the league, like a Squid? We love your guys' advice, your insights. We only get better with you guys. Without you, we're just two guys with big dicks. So.
Well, mine's a little bit bigger than his.
Yeah.
But
and in today's case, two guys with big dicks, one with a small. We'll let you figure out who has the small one.
Squid.
Squid.
Anyway, quick reminder, draft is a week from tomorrow, a.k.a. Labor Day, a.k.a.
8:30 p.m. Stop wearing your white pants. Last day to wear them, boys.
Rhett, that goes to you because I know you love those tight white pants that you say pick up the hottest dudes at the bar.
He loves them dudes. With that being said, is it time to
have
a challenge, a poll?
A poll, yeah. So there's no waiver wires this week. There's no research for you to do on who you should bid on or pick up. So we want to keep you entertained somehow. And John and I are creating a little poll, so I'll let him explain that.
Yeah. So as most of you know, Spock and I, along with Squid, and the unfortunate addition of Yoda, Brandon Underwood. I don't even know if that's still his name, but we are all living together here off Atwood Street, right by the Fulton Cemetery, where we unfortunately had to bury our cat the other day.
Rest in peace to Cheesy.
Cheesy George.
Dogs, right?
Maybe.
Squid, you left this podcast a while ago. So Spock and I have put out a challenge to each other. We recently came into the possession of a GameCube, loaded up with Super Smash Bros. Melee, every character unlocked, the Master Hand being beat. It's a game we've all grown fond of as we've grown older. It's part of our childhoods.
It's timeless.
It's timeless. Top 5 best ever, in my opinion. We're challenging each other.
And we want to know from our listeners, who do you think is going to come out victorious? Me. And so, little background info. It's going to be a stock competition with 5 lives each.
5 lives.
You want
time, unlimited time.
Unlimited time. We'll either be playing. What do you want to play? Cornerio, Hyrule.
We're going to have to find a smaller stage because it's only me versus him, mano a mano. We don't have 4 across the stage, so I don't think Hyrule is going to be an option. It's too large to hide. I don't appreciate those who hide and wait for the other to come to them.
We could play at the Yoshi stage.
The Yoshi stage. Kirby's is always a good choice with the tree.
That damn wind, though.
The damn wind, it gets to you. But anyways, so in stage right in my back pocket, I will be playing as the one and only Mr. Game and Watch. Bacon. I am known to win quite often with them. I think my record stands at, I want to say 30-1, 25 KOs. And it's, Jay can attest to this. Roston can attest to this. I'm tough to beat with them. I'm very tough to beat.
Yeah, and I would be Pikachu. I like the faster characters, and I think I'll be edge guarding a lot in this match, trying to get the best of John because I kind of know how he's going to play. I don't want to reveal too much, so to give him the upper hand. But there's a caveat to these votes. So if you vote correctly in the poll, we will compliment you on our next show. However, if you fail to vote or vote incorrectly, you will be roasted and we will not be kind.
We sure won't. So vote. All right. I know the commission's put up a lot of polls regarding exactly what he wants, and he tailors it so he'll get his way. This is going to be solely based on your guys' opinion, what you want. We are not going to, what's the word I'm looking for, fabricate it in any way in order to get what we want out of it. It is for you guys. We look forward to the participation. Vote for me so I can say good things about you. We all want that. Don't vote for Spock because then we just get to roast you like we've been doing to Rhett all day.
Your wildest dreams will come true. Thank you.
Brandon Friedel, that means you have to vote for me. I'm your client. You don't vote for me, things end up bad. I can hold it over your head. With all that said, guys, we appreciate you tuning in and watching. We cannot wait for the season to get underway. Good luck. study, and just remember to start having fun in about a week. It's gonna be a hell of a season.
That it is, and I can't wait. I'm sure you guys can't wait. I can't wait to trash talk. Can't wait to stay on the couch all Sunday watching Red Zone or Sunday Ticket or whatever I'm able to get my hands on. And we'll see you next week with the second episode of the Spock and Dron on air.
Been a pleasure, guys. Adios.